We are going to go back in time to 2018. This truck was sitting in the E3 booth in Vegas, and they picked it to be a golden ticket winner. So it ran on the Vegas Strip and on the Speedway. We put it through her paces with very little miles on it, and she did absolutely fantastic, other than the fact that she sucked up more gas than probably 4 or 5 of the other cars in the Invitational. We realized really quickly that a 620 horse, big block 440 driving on the street was not exactly optimal. So the following winter, we tore the motor down, put a better cam setup in it, a different intake, and dropped that power range down into a usable range for the street. And at the same time, with a little bit of prodding from some other friends in the industry, decided that we would put fuel injection on it at the same time. So let's fast forward back to today. And after this entire time, I still have not been able to get this stuff to operate correctly. I spent hours online talking to people on the phone, dealing with all of the issues. It does start, it does run and drive, but it dies at stoplights now. Sometimes it dies just when you let off the gas to turn a corner. It just makes it absolutely horrible to drive. It's just no fun. So that brings me to the whole point of this video, is that this is the original 850 carb setup that was on this truck when it was in Vegas, the mechanical fuel pump, that entire setup. So in the next hour, we are going to go around here, rip every bit of this wiring, all of this junk out of here, put it in a box for some other sucker to play with, and we're putting the carburetor back on this thing so we can have fun with it again. Alright, so this should not be a dirty job. I mean, this truck is a little bit frickin' dusty, but it is like spotless underneath. There's hardly any frickin' grease. I mean, it has spent a bit of time on the road, but usually in very nice weather. It's not driven around in the pouring rain. It doesn't go through the fields. It's not getting muddy. Everything has been very well taken care of over the years. So worst case is I'm going to smell like frickin' gas, which who the hell hates that, right? So I am going to start out real freaking simple, pile of goddamn tools here and just start ripping stuff off. Most of the wiring, everything is all unplugged, so it should just all unplug, get out of the way. I'm not going to bother getting rid of the O2 sensor. I'm just going to unplug it, leave it there. We might be able to use it for tuning and stuff later on. So I'm going to start unplugging all this stuff, getting it out of the way, remembering how the wiring was set up before we put this in. I believe I ran all separate wiring for the fuel injection. So all I really need to do is find the electric choke wire in this bundle, and everything else is out of here. Oh. So we took a quick little UPS break, but if you noticed, I had an aha moment right before that happened. So the biggest issue I've had with this fuel injection is the fact that this thing keeps stalling when we let off the gas or pull up to a stop sign, stop light, whatever, stop, period. As we're getting ready to pull everything apart, you look down here, I've got a busted vacuum line that looks like it runs up to this solenoid right next to the return fuel line here on this thing. So because it goes up near that fuel area, I have a sneaky suspicion that might have been our culprit that's been causing issues for the last couple of years here. So I'm going to make a phone call, see if that's a possibility. If it is, I'm going to replace that line, pop the few wires and stuff on that I just popped off in, like, you know, the last 5 minutes, take this thing out for a test drive and see if that works. Because as excited as I am about putting the carburetor back on this thing, that was really my main issue and what irritated me about this thing. So if that fixes it, that saves me a lot of work, and we just might give this fuel injection thing some redemption. All right, I'm gonna talk really trailer fired up. I'll leave the window shut so people can hear me. We're going to see if this is redemption for the fuel injection. I did replace that hose that I found that was screwed up. Let's go get this thing up to temp and see what happens. Hopefully my camera stays stuck to the window. I should have wiped the suction cup off, and I didn't, but oh well. If you hit the floor, then the video's over. Get about a quarter tank of gas, that should be enough to get us started. Seems to be running freaking fantastic right now, but it always did run pretty well until it got up to like 180 or so. Right now, I'm going to actually stop in the roundabout. Right now I'm at like 140. So by the time that needle is standing up straight, maybe a hair to the right, that's when we should start having problems. I don't want to get too far away from the shop just in case we have issues and it won't restart. It's always restarted, but just in case it doesn't restart, we're not too far from home. This would not be a fun truck to pull into the trailer without a winch and without it running. So we're going to stay cruising around the little parking lot area over here. Still running great. Let off the gas. Doesn't seem to have a problem. We're at like 170. I think it's got a valve cover gasket leak or something. I can smell a little bit of oil burning. But it's always kind of smelled like that. I think it's a little worse right now because usually we've got all the windows open. Just stalled out. Right at 180. Okay, so god damn it, freaking EFI rabbit hole sucks me in again. So that freaking busted vacuum line, probably already mentioned it, runs up through and goes up to the internal regulator on the throttle body. Talked to a few people. Yes, of course, that could definitely be my stalling freaking problem. It would also cause other problems while driving. The topic that keeps coming up every time I talk to anybody is freaking vapor lock, vapor lock, vapor lock. Fuel's getting hot, it's boiling, it's blah, blah, blah. That's why it only happens when it gets hot. I've argued the fact because of the air motive, because of the fuel pump, because it's constantly circulating the fuel, it shouldn't be able to get that hot. So I'm going to eliminate all of that. Take that whole fuel line out, take it completely away from the motor. I'm going to shorten the hard line and run the fuel line right from the frame rail up the firewall directly into the fuel injection, away from all the heat. Don't know if it's going to do anything. I think it's not going to make any difference at all. I think there's other issues, but just so everybody can quit saying that it's a freaking vapor lock issue because of the heat, I'm going to do this. Also, the other suggestions that I've had is that I've done a lot of changes in the ECU for the fuel injection that were done after that line could have possibly cracked. So there's a lot of changes I made in there that I potentially made because of a vacuum leak and the regulator not working properly. So I'm going to reset the ECU as if I just installed this on the truck for the first time ever, and let it start learning again, and add my idle and all of those other parameters, AFR, all that stuff that I want after, because I really just don't know how many changes I made on this thing. So that's the point I'm getting to, is stuck in this thing, and now I got to get it apart. So I'm going to reroute this fuel line, reset the fuel injection on this thing. It is raining like freaking crazy outside, so it'll probably be tomorrow. We're not supposed to have rain again for the rest of the week. So tomorrow, it'll be all set, ready to go. We can come in the shop, I can fire this thing up, get it up to town, go for a drive, and hopefully it's all better. If it's not, I am freaking done with the rabbit hole crap. It's coming off, and I'll put the carburetor on, which I probably should have done this morning anyway. But that's a whole lot of freaking talking for no goddamn reason. I'm gonna start working. Here's the pressure gauge. It'll be upside down if I mount it here. So I'm gonna flip it around, and we're gonna mount it right on the old spark plug tube. Run the line straight down. Get rid of the rest of the roadkill mounts. So I obviously took the vapor lock thing seriously at some point, because I wrapped this whole freaking fuel line in Thermatec heat wrap. This is supposed to be well over 1,000 degrees. It's supposed to reflect it away and keep that cool in there. So another reason why I don't think it's a vapor lock issue, but I'm still doing it. So I'm gonna go underneath, yank this hose through from underneath, get it disconnected, figure out what I gotta do under here. Actually, I'm probably gonna go next door, grab a jack, get the front end up on jack stands first, and then I'll start messing with that, and I'll show you what it looks like once I get everything back together. All right, we're back in. I had it running for a minute, got it up to temp till the fans came on. Let's try it. God, she just fires up so nice. It's so irritating that it has this other problem, because it just seems to run so nice otherwise. I did change the idle target to 900 from 850. It seems to be idling smoother. Fans are on, so it's still up above 180. Let's go see. it stalled. So that just goes to prove to you that freaking bullshit, it is not freaking starving for fuel because of a vapor lock. See? We're backing her in. That time I noticed that the fuel pump seemed to be trying to keep up. Like when I'd stalled and it wouldn't restart, I could hear the fuel pump running. So I actually shut the power off to the EFI, turned it back on, pump ran for probably another 3-4 seconds, got it back up to pressure, it fired right back up again. So that's telling me that this fuel pump is, it's not keeping up on pressure. Like maybe the fuel pump's getting hot and not pumping. I don't know. But that's enough. I'm not buying another fuel pump. I am not spending any more money on a system that I don't drive the truck enough for the EFI to matter. So the spending any more money to make this work, or any more time for that matter, is just ridiculous. So unfortunately I burned another day that I would have had to swap this out and put the carburetor on it, falling down this stupid EFI rabbit hole again. But I'm not even going to like look at anything next time, anything at all. It's just open the hood, get the lights on, grab the tools, and just start cutting and hacking and getting this thing the fuck out of here. Unfortunately, now I shortened that frickin' hard line up down the frame rail, which was really stupid. I shouldn't have frickin' done that. So I'm gonna have to run a line. The line will just end up being a little longer going to the mechanical fuel pump. It'll be fine. It just kind of sucks that that happened. But yeah, this thing's out of here.